Welcome to the Association Weekend Edition. We are wrapped with game ones this weekend. The 8th of 8 just went final as the San Antonio Spurs beat the Portland Trailblazers 111-98. I'm Lauren Rosen here to take you through everything we saw today alongside Antonio Daniels, a historic debut to the playoff career of Victor Wembanyama and a couple others. Antonio, you ready to dive in?
I am. What an exciting game. What an exciting weekend of playoff basketball.
No doubt about it. So 7 home teams win out of 8. Of course, we saw the Orlando Magic get into the win column themselves ahead of this one. But this was our nightcap. It was the weekend's finale. And Antonio, you've been talking about this. We've talked about the way that star players, leading scorers, are not always the main story of a playoff game, of a playoff series. It's about how the supporting cast shows up. So as we take a look at what happened for San Antonio tonight, Victor Wembanyama showed up indeed. 35 points, setting a San Antonio franchise record for the highest scoring playoff debut ever, passing Tim Duncan, who was in the audience there to take it in. But his teammates around him showed up in a big way as well. What was working for San Antonio, particularly down the stretch?
Everything. And here's the thing. We said earlier, we're not concerned with the stars. Well, the star was the story today because that daggone Victor Wembanyama is something special. And I'm gonna say the same thing I told you prior to coming on. He is a playoff run away from having the tag of being the league's best player. Right now, I feel like it's Nikola Jokic, but he is right on Nikola Jokic's tail. And the thing is, he does everything. He impacts so much of the game on both sides of the ball. But you give Portland a lot of credit because they easily could have folded. They easily could have, you know what, let's hang this up and let's worry about game 2. It was a point in the third quarter where they got into a 2-point game. And then their inexperience kicked in, and they turned the ball over 4 times in a row. San Antonio hit the ground running from there.
We talked about the leading candidates every night, right? And it's been this guy, Denny Avdia for Portland. He was fantastic during this team's play-in journey. He was great again tonight. He finishes with 30 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. He was 12 for 21 from the field in his 39 minutes of play. Scoot Henderson, another guy making his playoff debut, and he made quite the impression. 18 points, 7 for 11 from the field. But the supporting cast on Portland's side is going to need to do a little bit more here as the series goes on, Antonio.
Yeah, and you know, they say that role players tend to play better at home. So the supporting cast from San Antonio, you would expect them to be more impactful in this game. But now when you go back to Portland, you may expect more or get more out of other guys that you didn't get tonight, out of the Klingons, out of the Robert Williamses, out of the Toumani Kamaras, and some of these other guys. Yeah, that's almost to be expected. But you're right, Lauren. The San Antonio Spurs supporting cast showed up tonight in a big way alongside Victor Wembanyama.
Let's take a closer look at some stats. Antonio, I'm going to ask you what stood out among the stat sheet tonight. We're going to talk a little bit more about San Antonio's supporting cast here as well. We mentioned a bunch of guys making their playoff debuts. Stephon Castle, 17-7-7. Devin Vassell, 15-3-2. Of course, De'Aaron Fox is more of a veteran face, but he brings 17. Luke Cornett finishes with 10. A total team effort, Antonio, from the Spurs.
And that's really what it's all about. It's about the balance. People forget about De'Aaron Fox. People forget you're a few years removed from De'Aaron Fox winning Clutch Player of the Year. So this moment would not be too big for him. These guys have learned to play off of Victor Wembanyama, but they've also learned when Victor Wembanyama's out the game that now it's their time to go. The Dylan Harpers, the Stephon Castles, the Devin Vassell, these other guys, they showed up today. And this is going to be a difficult out for any team that faces the San Antonio Spurs. They're fast and they check a lot of boxes.
Well, it's a San Antonio team that found ways to win independently of Victor Wembanyama's availability. And a lot of credit has to go to Coach of the Year finalist, as named earlier this evening, Mitch Johnson, the head of the Spurs. And he is addressing reporters after their first win in his playoff coaching tenure right now.
Mitch, you held them below 28 each quarter. Did it kind of start defensively with that effort?
I thought we did a good job. I thought we had efforts in transition, and I thought we got organized a few times when they were even trying to push the pace, which allowed us to get our half-court defense set and give us a chance to be organized and connected on that end.
Then in the third period, when they were making that run, Devin has 8 straight points, has 2 blocks. What do you think of his effort there?
Yeah, I mean, he made some shots, but him during that stretch had some winning plays like that. Luke Cornett had some monster plays like that. Julian Champagny. I mean, that's what it's going to take in these games. A lot more than the shot making, especially when teams are making runs. There are plays to minimize their run and maximize ours, depending on the circumstance of the game, and those are the plays that will do that for you.
We talked a lot heading into this game about just this is the first run for this group. Just overall, how do you think the guys that were new to this responded, and it seemed like it maybe took them a while to kind of get their sea legs, so to speak?
I thought they responded great. We talked about this was going to be an atmosphere and a level of energy and enthusiasm in this building that none of us have felt, not sitting on the bench in the roles that we're in right now. And that was okay. And so we knew the start of the game was going to be filled with energy. And we made sure to try to make, to get back to the regular schedule programming, but they deserved that. They deserved that moment to feel this city, their fans, that crowd, giving them that energy. And I thought they ended up getting settled, but I was expecting nothing but that.
There was a play kind of early on. I think there's several of them with Victor, but there was one where he caught the ball, he went behind his back, there was a spin, and then he went for a dunk. Did that? I think the crowd went crazy on that one, but is that when he kind of settled in, or has it got everyone going, or did you just think he was ready right from the jump?
I thought he was ready. I thought he probably settled in a little bit later when he was, he made some shots and his talent popped. But I thought he really settled in there at a point when our defense kicked it into another gear and we got organized and we got set, and he was doing a really good job of talking. They did a good job of trying to kind of create multiple actions and some confusion. I thought he did a good job of quarterbacking from the second line and getting some guys organized and getting them in the right spots. And then he settled in and he obviously made some shots, but I thought he set some good screens too.
Is that what gets him going as defense then?
It gets our team going for sure. Yeah, I think our defense into our offense is always our best offense. So the more that we can commit to that end, I think then you get to see the talent and the athleticism and the waves of our offense.
Yeah, Coach, a lot of the guys were talking this week about, some of them were saying it even felt like y'all were one big AAU squad. Y'all have obviously been through a lot together, so to get a first playoff win as a group, have you seen them just kind of have fun in between all the preparation and work that goes into this, and how beneficial can that be?
Yeah, I think we've had a lot of firsts this year. Obviously, this is at the top of the list when you start talking about a playoff win. But I do think our group's done a really good job of taking everything in stride and just being present in the moment and where our feet are at. And I think that's allowed us to be maniacally competitive and prepared to the level that we feel is appropriate, but also not take ourselves too serious and have some fun and try to have an environment that creates and empowers a comfortability that hopefully produces confidence. And I think the guys have done that in a great way all year.
Coach, you mentioned the good stints there by Devin and by Luke, and Stephon had the great start. De'Aaron had his moments, obviously Vic. You guys often talk about the connectedness of this group. Just at different points, it seemed like different guys gave you different things in the end, to kind of pull this thing together. Just your thoughts there on, again, an entire team effort to get a W.
Yeah, I mean, they're as aggressive as a team in the league in terms of when you start talking about the way